very complicated.
Okay, so then, well, you spoke about influences coming from the West, affecting the young people.
Yeah.
But also, we spoke in the beginning. You spoke about the male dominance in the Indian society.
And the taboo, the sexual issues.
Come again. The taboo, not discussing these issues. So, how does all of this play into honor-related marriages? In the context of what we are talking about right now.
Yeah, I think that it has an influence on the attitude. The boys are being brought up in a different way.
They're more free. They
with this attitude that whatever they want, they can get it because they can choose and go to school whatever they like. So they are brought up with a lot of more freedom. Another thing is that the girl, if she gets married, actually the thinking behind it is that she goes to the family of the boy. She's leaving her own family. So actually the girls are being brought up with values, etc. till they got married and they go to the boy's family. Then they embrace whatever values are there. So this whole attitude or the perceptions of boys, I think it has its influence, because if you say a male is dominating everywhere, they get the best positions also at workplaces, etc. The treatment in the home is different, because anyway the girl, if she gets married, she's in the family of the man, goes away and take care of the family. Then I think this has the influence of the male, that they think they can do everything. They have more power, more power even over the girls.
So
okay,
so education has to start with the parents then.
Yeah.
So that they know how to handle the
boys and girls.
Please, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Based on what my brother said about Khadija. Khadija proposed to Prophet Muhammad, right? And that was in those days anyway. But what happens if a woman proposes to a man now? Will she be penalized?
No.
Because
India.
yeah, because sometimes sometimes our culture or religion puts us in bondage. Because as a married woman now, maybe I can be working with my man, or even not with my man, and maybe I see a man on the street, or maybe somebody I used to know, and one way or the other, I fancy him, but I cannot say it out because of our
upbringing.
Yeah. No, that's our dog. So, but sometimes it's not adultery.
Let's know what she's talking about.
It's not adultery, because sometimes it's good for you to appreciate the handwork of.
Oh yeah, when you see somebody.
Yeah.
I know this person before. How are you?
No, not
shouldn't be a problem.
No.
When you're married.
But if you pay compliments to somebody, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that's a normal thing we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, are we
say we are all children of God, and you treat the other as a brother. You give confidence.
Exactly.
What is the honor-related aspect of the question? I didn't get it. Or you just wanted to pass that comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to know,
It's good for women to, even in Islam, to propose.
So a woman can propose to a man. And I think that's a mentality we have, that women are not supposed to say what they feel. But now it's possible.
No, it's different. Can I say
Yeah, go ahead.
as I mean it? In our culture, they used to say every ugly woman has an
there's no
eyebrow.
ugly woman.
No, I'm counting. Yes, in Proverbs, it says every ugly woman has what? A potential. What do I mean? Every wise lady study and get to a point whereby you are, even a man, woman, you'll be afraid even to go and approach her for marriage.
It's true.
Are you correct?
Yes.
Yeah, because she herself has the right because of her diploma. If I say I refer back to you, professor.
Yes.
A professor, do you think that a trader can just go there?
Oh, no, in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So then in Nigeria.
A schoolmaker going to marriage to give a hand in marriage. It's not possible.
But here, in Holland,
They're not allowed to talk. Okay. I think the professor. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, you're done. Go ahead.
She was asking if it's allowed. It's allowed because when you put yourself as a value of something, you want price, and because of that price, that's why I said every ugly woman. I don't mean practically that a woman. What I mean that when you have the potential, there's a trader who have a shop. We first think he's a medical doctor. No, I don't then go there because because my intelligence is not up to level. So, and there's no way it's going to work. So, if you're a woman and you put yourself, likewise, if I say American ladies now, before I walk out from here, some people will slap me because because every American lady walks different way of thinking. American lady can see you as a man. Go direct and talk to you. I like you. Europeans here is few. Europeans is few. Because they look at the value of what you have. And
but that is the kind of mindset we are going to change because it's limiting, you know.
Nobody put us in the box.
Exactly.
We put ourselves in that box.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to change that mentality. If you're a woman, you fancy. If you're a woman, you're a cleaner, you fancy somebody who's a doctor, just approach them.
Exactly.
So, express your, give your compliments and show that you are interested. That's it.
Most people also attach a different meaning to that. It doesn't matter what they get. It doesn't matter what they get.
Okay, one quick question. Now, do you think that this honor-related issue we're talking about, we've cited a lot of cases coming from Asia, India, Pakistan. Do you think that we have this kind of thing happening in our own West African cultures today?
Yes.
Forced marriages. Okay, then let's have some examples so that we can really,
We have it in Nigeria. In the northern part of Nigeria, it happens.
The northern part of Nigeria.
Yeah, the northern part of Nigeria, where the politicians and the old men getting married to the smaller ones because of their money.
Not only in the northern part of Nigeria. We also have it in my own area, in the eastern part of Nigeria, where the Azes, the chiefs, they also politicians too. Maybe because they are family friends, and they have children growing up. So, and because they want that relationship to remain, so they make sure they arrange the marriage, the daughters to marry, and maybe in future.
So it's still happening today now.
In our society,
Is it arranged or forced? What is it?
for the sake of the honor.
Yeah, family honor.
For money,
Like when
Money status, family name.
personality.
But look, it's happening also in the high societies. Just look at Diana, and Charles. What do you think happened there?
it was arranged.
What do you think happened there? Was she not used? It's not only for money, right? Also like Charles was already having a lady. And this lady, the younger lady, didn't know anything about it. So she was just used to bring children to follow the leadership. Is that not being used? You see what women are suffering?
You see?
You see how we are suffering?
Let's look at this example. Our king, William Alexander, and Maxima, was that arranged or it was consensual?
No.
So at least
Now, human being will do this. England is something else.
England is something else. Okay.
That's one. Anything happen anyway. Whatever it happens, but the only thing I know, whatever that happens, because I'm a believer.
Yeah.
It's everything is really spiritual. All these things you see must happen somewhere. This is thankful. But I think that what makes things more exposed is this network. All this has been happening before, but we didn't hear it. Yeah. But now when it happens immediately, everybody hears it. Understand? So it makes it look like as it's rampant. It has been there for a long time. But now, because people also like to imitate when they say, they rape somebody, why don't we control all here? We are trying to let people know to stop it, but at the same time, introducing them that this is what is going on. You can also do your own. So that's an advantage and disadvantages in this technology.
Can I ask this question? Would this be an honor-related situation? Let's say a young promising young man who is maybe in university about to finish, and then accidentally, because he was trying to sow his wild oats, and then he goes to impregnate maybe somebody not of the same class, maybe have a semi-literate girl, and then the girl becomes pregnant now because he realizes that he has a higher value, a high future, so he cannot cope with that level of a girl, and then he decides because of his honor not to marry the girl. And when he dumps the girl, goes to look for somebody else of his class. I think that's a common scenario, isn't it? Does that happen?
And the child?
And the child, he may accept the child or reject the child altogether. No, but the point here is that okay, I want to put this before our panel. Is that an honor-related kind of situation, relationship? Yes, Dr. Shada. So the girl was dumped because the girl has a lower social status.
Yeah. And when he was going, the guy was a high class.
When he was going, the guy was a high class.
So when he becomes pregnant, he becomes a low class.
So
you see the problem.
Well, the fact is that men can always make mistakes, because when men are growing, they really want to try sex. So in the process of trying sex, they may go into a woman they are not really interested in.
So if you had a daughter, somebody did that to her, how would it be?
Well, nobody would do that to my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
No.
You've not answered the question. I will bring my daughter up properly. She cannot come so far to condescend very low. So my daughter wouldn't do that.
Because
no, you see, the reality is that sometimes we think this issue we're talking about is so far-fetched that it's not so far from us. But really, in reality, we are... Hello. Excuse me. One person at a time, otherwise we will not hear. I think sometimes we put this issue so far away, but actually sometimes very close, right at our doorstep. Right at our doorstep, isn't it? Yeah, we hear about honor-related marriage or violence, and we think it's so far away. But this is a very practical, down-to-earth example of what happens sometimes. Because of our honor, so somebody in our family, maybe your son, your daughter, or uncle, or niece, or nephew, goes with a girl, and the pregnancy comes. They say, the mothers will say, ask for this guy is not coming to our family because we don't like her. And then
they will even blame it on the girl.
Yes. Oh, don't you agree?
it's not easy to be parents. When you are bringing your children up, you must have told them to certain things you don't want them to do. Understand me? So, yet, being children or being who they are on their own. They do what they want. So, eventually, whatever you say, I don't like this. And when you say you don't like it as a parent, they don't understand it. You will never like it later. So, you have to pray for God, for your children to understand what you are teaching them. But whereby they have their own way and they don't follow you have to learn to control that and not be violent about it. That's the truth. Because you always say, don't please your child. But remember your child, you don't follow your child.
No.
He has his own mind.
Yeah.
This is my parents' own idea. This is my own goal. You don't tell me what to do.
But the first thing remains that if
This
something happens,
Yeah.
the parents would like to weigh in and say, hey, my child is not going for this girl or this family. You see? So then the honor thing is coming up. Because of your family honor, so you don't want your son to associate with that girl, even though he made her pregnant.
If there's a mistake, you have to learn to accept it.
Accept the mistake.
Yes, you have to readjust yourself.
Yeah.
You have to readjust yourself.
Okay, now let me,
Excuse
you want to quickly
I
ask,
just
respond
want
to
to
that?
contribute to what he
Yes.
just said.
Yes.
In a scenario where the parents, the man or the parent, tell their children that I don't want this,
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
But,
And they still,
that I don't want this, I don't want that. You know, these children of nowadays, they are very inquisitive. They want to know
why you
why.
said it wasn't.
If you don't educate her and let her see reasons to why you say it's not good. If you say I don't like this, I don't like that, it's not enough for him. Just like the Imam said that you got to be open with them and tell them why the reason why it is good or it is not good. So like you
Even
said,
if we say they have their own opinion.
like you said, prayer is not enough. It's not enough to make to make the children and to behave in a good manner. But the point is that you need to educate them. That is where education comes in. Trying to let them know this is the effect of having such a thing. It will stop your education. It will not be able to follow your peers according to academically or socially and this kind of a thing. So those kind of a thing. When you tell the children, then they will be able to see. Oh, well, I think my mom is on the right side. So that is
You also have to communicate with each other.
Yes.
Communicate with each other.
communication.
Communication is really
Very important.
Be free. Let them know that they can always come to you.
To
Because
discuss.
you have parents when you're more wild. No.
Some parents, when they ask them question, they will say, hey, don't ask me that question.
Yeah, Africans.
Don't ask me that
That's
question.
only Africa.
And the children will go out, they will go out to learn it in another way. And at the end of the day, when it comes back home, it's going to be it's going to be a trouble.
Okay, let me just ask the last question so we can, afterwards, whilst we're eating, we can just discuss. Now, the government actually is against honor-related marriages. Why? And what really is a consequence for being a part of an honor-related marriage setup, setting up an honor-related marriage situation? What would be how does the government look at it, and what are the consequences?
Heb jij iets in de optie? The Dutch government there?
Yeah, the Dutch government is against.
I could imagine that it has to do with the number of divorces. It's the chance that it will increase. That would be one of the things.
So is it?
And also, I think he says. Depression, yeah. Also, like overriding people's free will.
Yes.
I think that's
the biggest part.
biggest part.
Yeah, they have girls supposed to have the free will to marry whoever they want. So I think that is the point from the government, that somebody's free will is taken away from them.
Yeah. So, any other comments on this aspect? basically, we wanted to use this forum to make all of us aware of the fact that this honor-related marriages is still with us, and sometimes we get involved without even knowing, you know, and like we just outlined. But also the government has to stand against it, and so we have to watch out and make sure that we don't, in a way, directly or indirectly, you know, influence people to get into a relationship which is not from their own will, so to speak, and that could carry some consequences, you know, legally speaking. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody has any other question, something you wanted to ask earlier.
I want to reframe the question for more clarity. What I want to ask is that why is it that the proportion of women, you know, in the civilized society like Netherlands, Holland that we are living, most of them, they are free stand, you know, they are free stand, they are single mom. And from my own personal research also, it causes a moral decadence, because a situation whereby a woman in a normal situation, man and woman supposed to be together to nurture the children, you know, up to a standard, you know. But a situation whereby the responsibility is solely rest upon the woman. No authority in the house to checkmate. So the women, the ladies, when they reach the age of puberty, they want to try a lot of things, and by so doing, they become somebody. Somebody that cannot be equal to their own peers anymore. So the question is that what is the government? What's the government of the Netherlands that we are, so to say, as a case study? What are they doing to ensure that that kind of a thing, you know, diminish or maybe totally exterminated from their society, so that they can be able to have a good upbringing of their children?
Over to you, brother.
I think Professor should
It's a free will between men and women. So how much can a government influence?
No, that's not.
That wasn't the.
What is it then?
It is in history.
I didn't stand.
It is in system. It's history.
Because if I speak from the Shunam community, because I'm a single mom also,
okay.
it is within the history of slavery, whereby in slavery, the women and the men were separated. So they were grown up with that, of not having the husband around. So they was growing up of like the woman is the boss in the house. So the women grow up like you don't need a man, you know. So then if you don't need a man,
But this is typical in the African society.
Because he's talking about it's also white girls, I think. The white girls they're talking about that. Okay. That's different. I think it's also part of the system, because as a single mom, you will get more financial security from the government than when you are with a man. And when the man can get a job to take care of his family, then that causes tension between the man and the woman. So the woman needs to go out and.
Every woman is divorcing, so she wants to know how it looks like. Harriet, Harriet didn't know what is divorce, but she had it for a lot of women. They divorce. Okay, let me try how it looks like. The world we are now is like they have chosen it because they went more higher than the way we think, and they put it that we know that if we do it like this, it will be comfortable for them, and we are taking it. Believe you me, it's not good condition for you. For what I'm advising everybody is that whether you're a single parent or you have what we call come together, whereby you can reason together with your kids. Because if you don't affect the change from your kids, they will still make the same mistake. Look at single mother, single father. What voice do the child get out of the streets? You find out that all the single mother, single father, they don't even have relationship with their father or their mother. Their mother don't care, their father don't care. So they live outside the gate. When you talk about rape, what is rape? For me, I don't know what is rape because it's not in the blood and it's not in the system. Anybody who goes to think of raping somebody have lost the mind. When you ask them, why did you do such a thing? They cannot give you any concrete answer that can make you say, okay, ask people now, why do you smoke? I smoke because I was frustrated from this. If you are frustrated, is it what we push you only to go and smoke marijuana? No. You can start eating food now, start eating rice or patata. The people choose the foolish way of life more than the right way because at the end of it, they will think, I'm rejected, I'm abandoned, and this. No, nobody. Yeah. The point is that the solution is that we have something voice to tell the world. One person you meet and spoke to that person can affect a very good change in the community. Not to keep quiet and start blaming ourselves. It's a mistake of the government. The government, they are more wiser than us. Because when you talk about the people who make all these rules, are people who make rules that will favor you. Then now, they don't make rules that will favor you. They make rules that will bring you down. And you have to take it. So for you to be accepting all those things, you have to be wise on your own. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Well. We have to draw the curtain at some point. Unless somebody has something very, very funny you want to throw in before we. Okay, I want to assume that at this point we have all pretty much had the chance to express ourselves, but also to hear what this issue is all about. And I'm sure that you will not say that honor-related crime or honor-related marriage or whatever is honor-related is only peculiar to a particular ethnic group or race or creed, you know. It's really a human problem, I think. We all at some point want to protect the honor we have. So I want to be sure that my daughter gets married to the son of the president. And so that is my target. Some people will groom their children specifically for a particular class of men or women. See, it's something with us really. So it's a human problem. But it looks like sometimes we take it to extremes, and you know, it does more, causes more harm than good. Especially
marries a president who is highly corrupt.
Yeah,
that's not a crime. That is a sin. All they want is that money that
money there.
My son.
Okay. But the adverse effect, and that's what Mr. Bambo was saying, is that we can have it our way all right, but there's always consequence. That marriage may not last, or there may be other people who are also after the same money, and so it brings competition in the marriage, in the relationship, and other evil consequences can follow. And so really, you can't win all the time. You also can lose. So all said and done, we have to watch out. Anything that is done for the sake of promoting honor or gaining favor can be very dangerous. Okay. On this note, I would like to draw the curtain on tonight's program. I want to thank you so very much for your patience and for your lively participation. And we hope that you are taking home with you tonight at least something, one little thing, based on all that we've discussed today.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
While I was researching, so I read what they say, arranged marriage or forced marriage, there's a low rate of divorce when it comes to arranged marriage or forced marriage, because the children, the boy or the girl, will always be scared, afraid to leave the marriage that has been arranged by the parents. Yeah. Is it true?
It's arranged and it's culturally accepted thing. Then people will not easily go for divorce. When it's forced, it depends on the context. You know, where it's in a rural areas in India, people also think marriage is sacred. So once married, that's forever. You know, so you can't think of divorces. So that's there. It's a very cultural way of understanding.
Okay. All right. Is your question answered, Mr.? Yeah. Okay. So I want you to, on behalf of all of you, I want to thank Dr. Shada Nadram for making time to be here. Shall we give a big applause for her? And also, I would like to thank Imam Rian Rosa for making time out to be here tonight. Thank you so very much. Now, I also want to thank every one of you who made time to be here tonight to support this program. Without you, there would have been nothing. So, can we give yourself a big applause? All right. In the meantime, some food is being served, so grab something, grab a bite. So when you go home, you don't need to cook. Let me do a little presentation. You won't ask a question now so people can hear, or just continue.
Okay, yeah, I thought you are.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, in your research from New Delhi, also in India, you made mention of the PD dimension, I mean the power distance between the I think which the masculinity and femininity in over there. But over there, the men are more on top, you know. But here, the women, they believe that maybe egocentrism, and at the same time, the law favors them more than the men. So they believe when they come from New Delhi and comes to a society of this magnitude, you understand me? They tend to misbehave. You understand what I mean? So because of that, the men, instead of being up, they become down, and the woman is now they want to be control of the house here in the Netherlands, and I think that kind of a situation is also causing all this kind of is one of the major things that is causing moral decay in the society. But from my own perspective, I think this kind of a thing is more peculiar to the urban city. But when you go to the interior, where the culture, the tradition, the norms, and the value of Netherlands still exist. That kind of a situation is not not the same as the one here in the urban city. So, from what I'm just trying to buttress a point that the feminism and the masculinity, which is part of the